بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إذا دخلت على مريض فمره يدعو لك فإن دعاءه كدعاء الملائكة. رواه ابن ماجه. Umar bin al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he says that Nabi Karim says that when you enter upon the sick person, then order him to make dua for you, because his dua is like the dua of the malaika. Meaning that the sick person is just like the malaika, resembling them in this way that the malaika do not do any sin, and they are always in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Likewise, a sick person, while he's sick there, then as most of the sins, he doesn't do any step stains, and then also he's always focusing on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must cure him. عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال: من السنة تخفيف الجلوس وقلة الصخب في العيادة عند المريض. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: لما كثر لغتهم واختلافهم قوموا عني راضين. Then Ibn Abbas said that from the sunnah is to make light the sitting, make short the sitting, and less noise at the time of visiting the sick. Nabi Karim said that when the noise was a lot and the differences was a lot, then he said, stand up from me. Referring to his Marazul Maut, that the time came when lots of people were there, and as Umar was also there. Then Nabi Akram said, bring me a pen and a paper. I will write down. I'll make a wasiyat for you, by which you will not go astray after that. Hazrat Umar Rajalanu, he felt at that time that Nabi Akram is very, very sick, and it's not appropriate now to burden Nabi Akram with this, right? And he said that by you have the Quran, and the Quran is sufficient for you. And there were Ahle Bayt also there, and others also said that no, we must bring it, right? So there was an ikhtilaf there amongst some was in favor, was Umar Rajalanu and others. So they were discussing this, and they were a bit loud, and then Nabi Karim said, stand up from me, right? This particular incident is taken advantage of by the Shias, and they say that Nabi Karim wanted to write the Wasiyat Nama and give the Khilafah to Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, but Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu stopped him. Allama Ibn Hajar, he says that this deduction is incorrect. Because if Nabi Karim really wanted to write a Wasiyat Nama, right, then Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu stopping it would have not stopped Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he would have gotten him to write it. Rather, Nabi Karim himself chose not to write it for some reason, right? And he felt that that this matter will sort out itself. And after that particular incident, Nabi Karim remained alive, right, for 3 days. And in those days, sometimes Umar was there, and sometimes other Sahaba Ikram was there, and sometimes only Ahle Bayt was there, as Ali Abbas radiallahu anhu. And he had sufficient time to still write down the wasiyat, but he did not do so. He did not understand it. He did not. He felt he didn't have to do it. And then also Nabi Karim regarding the Khilafat, he chose such a method which will leave nobody in doubt that while he was still alive, he appointed Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu to lead the Salah. And therefore, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, although he took the bayat a bit later, when he took the bayat, he said that Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam has chosen as Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu for our deen and as our Imam. So shouldn't we accept him as the Khalifa for our dunya also? Right. So from here you understand that whatever Nabi Karim wanted to write that time, neither any of the Sahaba Ikram, nor even Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu understood that he was supposed to have received the Khilafat from what was supposed to be written at that time. That Nabi Karim had wanted to write. Right. وعن أنس رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم العيادة فواق ناقة وفي رواية سعيد بن مسيب مرسلا أفضل العيادة سرعة القيام رواه البيهقي في شعب الإيمان. Anas said Nabi Akram says that the visiting should be the period of the period in between the two milking of the camels, right? And in one riwayat of Sa'id ibn Musayyib Mursalan, that the best visiting is that way the standing up is quick. So here we find that, okay, firstly we get now that this period, between when you milk the cow or the camel, and then after that you take a short break, and that's not a long time. In that short break, the small camel will come and attach its mouth to the others of of the mother camel or the she camel, and that will again draw the milk down, right? And then you could milk it again after that. So that period there is very, very short, right? So it's mentioned an incident of Shareef that one person, some people came to visit him when he was on Marazul Maut, and they sat for a long while by him, and he had lots of pain in his stomach. So they said, Hazrat, make dua for us. So he said, oh Allah, teach his people the etiquettes of visiting the sick, right? Yes, if a person knows, is a close friend of the person that is visiting, and there is no takalluf, no formalities between them, and also he knows that the sick person will feel happy by him staying long, or by him staying there, he can help also, right? Then it would be better to stay long and fulfill the desires of this sick person, right? When Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عاد رجلا فقال له ما تشتهي قال أشتهي خبز بر قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من كان عنده خبز بر فليبعث إلى أخيه ثم قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا اشتهى مريض أحدكم شيئا فليطعمه رواه ابن ماجه. Ibn Abbas I said Nabi Akram and visit a man. So he said to him, what do you desire for? So he said, I desire bread, right? Bread made of wheat, right? So Nabi Akram said, whoever has bread made of wheat, then he should send to his brother. Then Nabi Akram said, when the one of you desires for something, then feed it to him. Okay, so when the person is sick now you go visit him, or even and he desires for something, then that's a sign that he is now recovering. Normally, when you're sick, then you don't feel like eating anything. So when he desires for something, that's a sign that he is recovering. And then they say that thing that he desires, right? For you must give it to him, and that will be a means of his recovery also. But then you have to obviously don't give it to him in a big amount, right? And also there mustn't be harm in that thing. If it's harmful for him, according to the Hakim, then you can't give it to him, right? So Allama Tibi, therefore, he says that this rule, this hadith actually applies to that person who has lost all hope. In other words, now the doctors have written him off. You understand? And they say now he's close to dying. Then now whatever you want, you can feed him. If he desires for anything, feed him now. It's not going to make a difference, right? When Abdullah ibn Amrin قال توفي رجل بالمدينة ممن ولد بها فصلى عليه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال يا ليته مات بغير مولده قالوا ولم ذاك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الرجل إذا مات بغير مولده قيس له من مولده إلى منقطع أثره في الجنة رواه النسائي وابن ماجه. And Abdullah ibn Amr radiallahu anhu said a man passed away in Medina from those who were born in Medina. So he was from those who were born in Medina, he passed away in Medina. So Nabi Akram said salah upon him, then he said, oh, I wish that he passed away out of his hometown. They said, why is that? He said, Nabi Akram he said, indeed, a man, when he passed away out of his hometown, then it is measured for him from his birthplace till the place the place where he passed away, right? And that amount will be in Jannat, right? And that amount you will get in Jannat. So in other words, yeah, you understand? So that amount of measurement you'll get in Jannah, right? So, so that's extra reward for a person passing away not in his hometown, right? And then, but this also the safar here, ulama say, it's got to be a safar ta'at. It can't be a safar of ma'asiyat. You understand? The man's going out to the casino and he dies on the way, then that won't apply to him. When Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu qala qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mata maridan, mata shahidan, wa wuqiya fitnat al-qabri, wa ghudhiya wa riha alayhi bi rizqihi min al-jannati rawahu ibn Majah wa Bayhaqi wa Shu'ban al-Iman. And Abu Hurairah said, Nabi Akram says, whoever dies in the state of sickness, then he dies mata. And he saved from the fear, punishment of the grave. And every morning and every evening, his risk will be brought to him from Jannah. Ibn Majah, right? Right. However, in another riwayat, mentioned man mata murabitan mata shahidan. So they say this could be a mistake from the Rawi, that man mata maridan. It's rather man mata murabitan, guarding the borders. Right. That's one more. وعن الإرباض بن سارية أن رسول الله قال يختصم الشهداء والمتوفون على فرشهم إلى ربنا عز وجل في الذين يتوفون من الطاعون فيقول الشهداء إخواننا قتلوا كما قتلنا ويقول المتوفون إخواننا ماتوا على فرشهم كما متنا فيقول ربنا انظروا إلى جراحتهم فإن أشبهت جراحهم جراح المقتولين فإنه منهم ومعهم فإذا جراحهم قد أشبهت جراحهم. So Ahmad bin Nasai, they got jirahahum, yeah, right? Then from Irbad ibn Sariya, they said that Nabi Akram said that the martyrs and then those who passed away on their beds will be disputing by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding those who passed away from a plague. So the martyrs will say, they are our brothers, they were killed just as we were killed. And those who passed away on their beds, they will say, they are our brothers, they died on their beds just as we died. So our Rabb says, he says, look at their wounds. Then if their wounds resemble the wounds of the martyrs, then they are from them and with them. So they looked and their wounds resemble their wounds. Narrated by Ahmad in Nasai. Right, so that just as a person who passes away as a shaheed, he's got his wounds of battle. Likewise, these people who passed away in the plague, they say they got killed by the jinnah. This plague also got a bit of a jinn asar in it, you understand it? And many times you find those people who die of a plague, it's as though somebody's stabbing a spear in their stomach. Somebody stabbing, that's why it's called ta'un, from ta'un, spear, piercing. Leave it till there. Okay, let's finish it up. وعن جابر رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الفار من الطاعون كالفار من الزحف والصابر فيه له أجر شهيد. رواه أحمد. You know, Jabir Nabi says that the one who runs away from the plague is like the one who runs away from the battlefield, and the person who makes sabr in it, he get the reward of a martyr. So Allama Tibi Rahmanullah says is this resemblance is from in it being a major sin. That just as it is a major sin to run away from the battlefield, likewise to run away from a plague is a major sin. And if you've got this belief when running away that we are running away and we are saving ourselves, if we don't run away, we're gonna die, right? And you've got a firm belief that is kufr. You understand it? And from this hadith, you understand also that those who make sabr in that plague, he'll get the reward of a shaheed, even if he didn't die in it. Also, they say, even if he didn't die in it.